In this video, I'm going to be philosophizing on self-care, concerned with the not exclusively prevention and or treatment of one's existing unnecessary suffering amongst psychological distress, yet proactive cultivation of more positive and or optimistic experiences within one's direct perception, allowances the more meaningful experiences in association with healthy psychological functioning, domain specific to the direction of desired meaningful effect. One is optimistically engaging direct perception causations to proactively treat one's own subjective experiences appropriately, to build from within internal and or external conditions the more meaningful, positive and or optimistic experiences in treating and or relieving certain pangs in relation to deprivations existing meaningfully, directly and or indirectly associative analytic meaning interpretations, allowance one to monitor internal and or external conditions existing deprivations of certain underlying psychological needs may be more appropriately satisfied, engaging self-care meaningfully, cultivating a sense of okayness, balancing one's feelings calibrated to the causations in relation to existing feelings and or positive meaningful emotions amongst negative meaningful emotions. One is proactively treating in relation to the more cultivations of positive meaningful emotions, future oriented in the direction of desired meaningful effect, often a positive direction of meaningful effect. Yet when we consider negative affective processes in relation to the what means a negative relationship, engages the increasing of a behavior to decrease a certain dependent variable in relation to that, meaning that one may engage proactively, often more in relation to a desired positive causation, yet operates within a negative relationship, be it one is experiencing pain and the pain's increasing, and one may engage in more distinct optimistic thinking to proactively treat the pain and or relieve pain. Perhaps one is experiencing pain as a result of discomfort in one's shoe. There may be a rock in the shoe, and yet one's hands are full, so one may not be able to take that rock out of the shoe quite yet. So one proactively seeks to, in the appropriate internal and or external conditions, brainstorm the conditional criteria to locate a area within one's direct perception appropriate to put down the load one is carrying and to take one's shoes off and address the rock issue, engaging more of a burden in terms of doing more in relation to bearing the burden current to one's experience, yet proactively alleviates and or relieves the suffering, appropriately finding the appropriate spot to remove the rock, had one dropped everything and attempted to engage the conducts meaningfully similar to remove the shoe, certain existing internal and or external conditions may have prevented the duty of care appropriate, be it that the internal and or external conditions concerned with the self within the surrounds amongst the external surroundings may have been inappropriate. Say that one is walking outside and it's raining and there's puddles and one doesn't want to get their stuff wet, and then there is a dry area off in the corner, and this prevents one's more meaningful possessions from being damaged from the water, alleviating not just the suffering one would experience in terms of the continuing to walk with a rock in one's shoe, yet to alleviate the unnecessary suffering in association with the prevention of damage to one's possessions, meaningfully may hold on one's thoughts as to, was it truly worth it in terms of alleviating the rock in one's shoe, instead of just holding out for a few more moments to be able to more appropriately address the unnecessary suffering within one's direct perception. Self-care also concerns more the engaging of certain conducts one derives, not only infers BADAX cause-effect dynamic associações, the byproducts provide positive treatment and or alleviation, yet is more meaningfully satisfying certain underlying psychological needs for individual autonomy amongst meaning in life, related to one's pursuits for meaningfulness within certain momentary encounters with one's more valued experiential encounters with the self in relation to the doing of certain valued conducts. This may include drawing comics to when one is more stressed and or upset with some distinct scenario one had experienced in relation to a conflict unresolved and or another individual is not willing to resolve, causing one to experience unnecessary suffering and or not necessarily psychological distress, yet negativities. One may transform those negativities into positivities with comic drawing to relieve some of the more difficulties one had experienced within one's direct perception, humoring oneself in the process of satirizing the distinct frames of mind within one's experiential encounters, drawing from certain meaningful memories to characterize proactively the more meaninglessness and or arbitraриnesses and or pointlessnesses cultivated from the absurdities into positivities and or optimisms, treating the negativities within one's self to the okayness, what experiences in balance of the positives and or negatives, more meaningfully eliciting laughter and or more intrinsic motivation, allowing someone to experience more positive, meaningful emotions. This is all I want to say for this video. Hope you have an awesome one. Keep all those up fresh.